Hey, hi everybody. Welcome back. We're going to be playing the scenario Operation Torbay from the Riviera Line in the 50s route in Train Simulator, another one of my favorite routes in this game. So we'll get it loaded up and get into it. This is one of my favorite routes in this whole game. The engine's fun to drive. And then this is kind of a fun activity. Yeah, should be a good time. Okay, so we have good afternoon, driver. The Castle is one of the most prestigious engines on the Great Western, and you'll be running it from Exeter to Kingswear. The weather looks good, so you shouldn't encounter too many problems. Pick up your passengers before setting off. Good luck. Okay, we can handle that. F4 to call our menu up. We have a tank engine pulling away here. Let's see what we got. We have our locomotive, Broughton Castle. We can do some kind of housekeeping stuff while we're waiting. We can get our cutoff set how we want it. Check on the fire. So our steam generation rate is going up when we're not shoveling, which means that this fire is a little bit too big. So that's okay. We'll just make sure we keep it between 55 and 65% for full power. Okay. Knock the brakes off. Clear signal. Away we go. Cylinder cock's open. And we'll just jog it. The throttle open just a little bit. 4 cylinders, so there's a lot of steam when you open the cylinder cocks. Getting out of town here, picking up speed. I want to keep an eye on the boiler pressure over here. It's going for a little while. I also want to make sure our cutoff isn't too wide, that it's keeping us from speeding up. So we have to keep an eye on that too. Different animal than the big Challenger. So we can check our F5 menu again. So generation rate's still going up, okay? Clear signal. Slow train. Nice looking engine. There was kind of a joke I saw. The engine that plays the Hogwarts Express in the Harry Potter movies and in the show is named Hogwarts Castle. And it's a Great Western engine, but it's actually not a castle. It's a hall, which we'll little bit smaller than these. So it's a hall that thinks it's a castle. Might be blasphemous to say for Great Western fans, but it does look nice in that bright red. I always thought. We do have some whistle posts here we have to keep an eye on. We can kill a sander. As I say, we have to watch the whistle post and then proceed to blow right through it. Another train coming at us. It's a long one. Right up around the speed limit. And we were losing a little bit of pressure, so I'll cut back on the throttle just a little bit. The early part of this scenario is a racetrack. Kind of fun running a steam engine this fast. Great Western cattle cars over here. I think that's what those are. Big long ones. These are track fans. As we come over them, push Control T. And we'll fill the tank up. Our tank is already pretty much full. So to make sure you push Control T again before you get to the end of it, or you break the scoop. Scoop goes over here. Oh, there's a scoop down on the bottom side of the tender. Goes into that pan and it scoops water up into the tank. Mostly an English thing. There were some railroads in this country that did. The New York Central comes to mind, but not so much an American thing. shouldn't let the fire fall down so far. Maybe start shoveling at 60%. I'm not sure. That seemed to have been a mistake. Up to speed, we can kill the shoveling. And then the injector, while we have some extra heat that we don't need, we'll get the boiler nice and full. Oh, when you run the injector, the steam comes out. That's cool. Speed restriction coming up, but it's a ways off yet. I do like this route. I've never been to England myself. I've heard the Cornish Riviera is something to see. It's definitely on the someday list. Oh, shoot, speed. This is a vacuum brake, so you're letting air out instead of... I'm sorry, you're letting air in instead of like letting it out like you would on an American braking system. Just a little different quirk. Yeah, that's cool. Can't imagine what it must look like in real life. The surf here, that's neat. Slow down a little bit more. And a 60 coming up. A local freight train going by on the other side. And then when you're not pulling with the throttle, the pressure is going to go down because you need steam going up the stack to draw air through the fire. You can turn the blower on, basically vents steam up the stack without the throttle being open. That's kind of inefficient to do while you're moving. Going into the tunnel up here. Is there a light in the cab? There, I don't think there is. There are a bunch of tunnels. These brackets here. Cutting these tunnels into these cliffs must have been something else. Beautiful. throttle a little bit more. Speed limit goes up to 75, but I'm not really going to bother speeding up. It goes down to 60, and then if you look here, we're due at 1522, and ETA is 1521, so we're ahead of time anyway. Don't need to really push it. Fireman's window. And you got the passenger cars. And you can't see as well. Go back to the fireman's side. Here we go. I don't know if anyone knows. You can let me know in the comments or something. Why the Great Western, if they run on the left-hand track, still has the driver on the right side of the engine. I'm sure there's some reason for it. In Great Western, they got a reason for everything they did. The station here. Didn't say to blow the whistle, but I'll do it anyway. Clear signal out of town. Had to downgrade just a little bit, so we might kill the throttle. I'd like to try and keep it open just to keep the train stretched out, so we don't get too much slack for our paying customers here. Kill the injector, we don't need that anymore. We're going to start shoveling. We're going to speed up here in a little bit. Okay, here we go. Look at that thing just take off. It's amazing. Just the raw power. The inside cylinder's working. Clear. And another speed restriction coming up. Change in speed limit, I should say. Just kill the shoveling for now. It's a Grange. Maybe that's a haul there. Slow down. And we have a 45 coming up after that. We gotta slow down a little bit tighter here. I'm going to kill the injector too because I want to run it while we're in the station platform. That's a Grange there. Freight train. Slow down just a little more. A little more. There we go. Just slow down a little bit more. Bring us into the platform nice and smooth, hopefully. Yeah, there's a railroad near me, the Chicago and Northwestern, that ran left-handed on double track. I've never meant to look and see if maybe their engines are still right-handed too. I don't know. They're long gone now, obviously. They're part of the Union Pacific monster. Seems to swallow up everything these days. Okay, and then we push here. About a minute early. That's express railroading for you. All right, so this is our first station stop, Newton Abbott. Big junction town, it looks like. Big yard. We got a pannier tank. For those of you of a certain generation who grew up watching Thomas the Tank Engine, that's Duck over there. So we got, looks like a hall coaling over there. Busy yard today. We're getting ready to go, and our next station stop is going to be Paynton. And forgive me if I'm totally botching these. Okay, here we go. Sander on. Cylindercock's open. And he's open as well. I think that's a hall there, yeah. If I remember right, I haven't done this in a while. There's a pretty significant upgrade out of here. Can't remember for sure. But we'll try and get a good roll on, which we should do anyway. We're supposed to be an express train, damn it. Crazy. I didn't get penalized for it. That's weird. Sometimes glitches work in your favor, I guess. There we go. Don't want to get smoking too hard here because it's going to drop down to 45. And the rest of this route, I think, is kind of speed up, slow down, speed up, slow down. Oh, now we're crossing over to the left. Oh, okay. All right. I get it, sort of. Got a clear signal. Sure hope so, because I didn't check the last one. If it had been yellow, we would have been screwed. Seems weird that we're able to hold this speed running up this sharp a grade at that low a cutoff. Yeah, whatever. Head out into the countryside, the little towns are getting smaller, the stations are smaller. Not on the big main line anymore. And the end of this line, down to Kingswear, I believe is a tourist railroad now. I think. I don't know for sure. And then they did something kind of cool. There's an alternate of this scenario called Torbay Troubles. Where the train's heavier, the engine's older, so you don't get as good a performance out of it. Not older, but like more beat up looking. And then I think it's like raining too. It's just harder. Maybe we'll give that a try another time. So that's kind of fun too. I don't want to cinch down on the brakes too much because we're still going uphill and it should just roll down. Okay. Seem to be over the top of the grade. watch it, because it might be a pretty steep downhill the other side. Factory here. The detail on this route's amazing. Especially it's older now. It's really nice looking. The scenarios are fun. One of my favorites. Now, one thing that the UK brake system can do that the one I worked with on American railroads cannot, I think you can do progressive release. So like on an American engine, you set the brake, and then you can't back the brake back off a little bit. You have to release it all the way and then reset it back down to what you want. So you just have to plan ahead a little bit. These, I think you can. So I'm at 21 inches of mercury now. I'm not a chemistry major. I'm not sure what that means. I think we can back off a little bit if we have to. We'll see. We'll see if we need to. The setting seems to be okay for right now. Now in the US, we express grades in percentages. So like a 1% grade means you go up 1 foot for every 100 feet forward. The UK system just tells you how many feet it takes to go up a foot. So 1 in 76 means for 76 feet forward, you go 1 foot up. Different way of expressing the same thing, basically. Take off again. One in 55. In the US, that would be around a 2% grade. Very steep. Throttle back open just a little. Oh, we're on this flat spot here. And then now we're going to go up again. Let's put a little bit of coal on. Yeah, forget it. We don't need it. And view is something. Nice and hard to keep our speed up on the hill. We're getting into painting. I'm guessing it's painting. Way early. We got a lot of traffic going the other way too. Slow down. It stopped a little bit harder than I wanted to, but I was not paying attention. It's okay. It's a busy station too. Big coach yard. Must have been like a branch line hub or something. Got a good sized freight yard too. You can see how. So we started up here in Exeter, big station. You know, bunch of main lines cross here. You work your way down to Newton Abbott, still pretty big town. Crossing point for a couple other lines. And now we're in Paynton. Pretty good sized station. And we're going to end up down here in Kingsware, the branch line terminal. Oh, and I'm not crazy. The line from Paynton, or from Kingsware, is now the Dart Valley Railroad. Milk cars. What we would call a freight house in this country. Yeah, big coach yard. All right, it's about time to go. I got the cylinder cocks open already. Should have been shoveling, that's okay. Start now, knock the brakes off. Put some sand down. Crack open the throttle. Head out of town. We stopped at Kingsware in 6 miles. If memory serves, a lot of that's downhill. So it'll be kind of tricky. I think we have to go uphill a ways before we get there. stop shoveling because we're not going to need all this heat. Linear tank? Is it switching or just a local freight train? Towed brake van? And those of us in this country who grew up watching Thomas the Tank Engine know all about towed brake vans. Track right up along the cliffs. Almost like Colorado. Not quite. Cliffs are a little bit higher. It's letting it slip, but it's not penalizing me for it. I mean, I'm not complaining, but it's kind of odd. Really is something. This Dark Valley Railroad must be quite the ride. It looks anything like this. Bridge, wow. Mystery gap in it. That's okay. Whoa, 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 running away here. Whoa, unstoppable. Pretty good movie. At the company I worked for, was involved in filming. Like any disaster movie, you know, some parts of it are kind of silly, but they used the wrong kind of engine for the runaway they're talking about. That kind of runaway really wouldn't be possible with that type. Still fun to watch. Lots of good action. Things blow up. I've almost got my PTSD under control to the point where I can watch the scene where they hit the empty trailer without twitching on the floor. So that's good. Forward progress. Denzel Washington was in it. Chris Pine. I think Tony Scott directed it. Might have been his last movie, if I remember right. Yeah, it's a good one. I'll have to watch that later. This bridge is something else too. Great Western didn't do anything by half measures. I think they built, and again, people can correct me if I'm wrong, I think the Great Western is the one that was built to broad gauge. The tracks were like 7 feet wide instead of the, why it's 4 feet 8.5 inches, I have no idea. But there's some story about how it's based on what the Roman chariots all were, and you know, they made ruts in the roads. Everybody else's wagon used wheels that were that wide, and it's this whole contrived thing. And then there are other people who say George Stephenson, when he invented the wagons, the railroad, was like, yeah, that's about right. So you can decide what you think is more likely. Going up this hill with those little pannier tanks must be quite the struggle. With a fishing boat up on here. That's cool. I think maybe the last time I played this route, I had my old computer. Couldn't really run a lot of the detail here. Not that this one's really anything special, but you know, some of the graphics turned up a little bit. We got a yellow warning signal, distance signal, I think. I'm not really clear on how the whole distance signal thing works. I think these signals are in a station, and if any of them are red, the distance signal will be yellow. I'm not sure. I have to brush up on that. Beautiful spot. Suppose I should be slowing down, huh? Okay, so we're coming into Kingswear Station. A little coach yard. Turntable. Doesn't look like much of an engine shed or anything. Just a place to turn the engines around. Maybe that's what that big coach yard in Peyton was for. I'll slow down a little more, huh? And right off the end of the pier. A little more. There we go. All stopped in Kingswear Station. 2.5 minutes early, no less. That's an express train for you. Pretty model there. The sailboats out in the harbor. That must be something to see. And then sometimes in this game it makes you, you're on time and it's the last stop. It makes you sit here until 15:54. So it's okay. It'll just be a minute. There we go. Congratulations, driver. You successfully completed this run. Let's see how you did. All right, let's see how we did. Oh, look at that. I got a good noodle gold star. This didn't penalize me for all that engine slipping. But anyway, that's about the end of our run today. Thanks, everybody, for watching, and we'll see you next time.